Hello, it's March 1st, 2010, and March morning, this morning, is bright and sunny. What a difference that makes. My video is all about recovery, from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, equally addictive, work, relationships, collecting. A life run on self-will, because behind it was fear. And if you're ever driven by fear, you want to look right, you want to put a brave face on. Ego covers up that empty gap inside, or that concrete, mind-grippingly horrible feeling of fear. And I don't know how long that lasted in me, for years and years and years. Fear of being found out, not good enough, not part of, not included, not wanting people too close to me in case they found me out. Yeah, and it made me strive for perfection all the time. So if I looked right, you'd leave me alone. If I looked right, you might be attracted to me, if you're a girl, hopefully. And at the same time, this great big fear inside of not being right and not knowing what to do. So what did I do? Well, I found with alcohol, it took the edge off and it fixed me. It fixed me and made me able to experience feelings, normally at the extremes of behaviour. So extremely happy or extremely sad, but no balance. Something I saw as I swung by. There was no balance in the middle, where emotions sort of erupt and go down, or as they are, as life affords. I was not very well calibrated as a person. So these days, simply learning one day at a time what it is to be balanced or calibrated one day at a time, so I can experience the feelings that are real about life. That's where I am today. So recovery for me means one day at a time finding out who I am, and by the end of the day having a bit of a better idea of what's worked and what hasn't. So life is about action, and we get wisdom from life experience. So my life experience over the last few years has all been about recovery and living life as it is. Not wishing it different, not worrying about it particularly, unless it is, of course, a worrying moment. It's taking life as it is, on life's terms. So what's helped me? Well, a moment of clarity, after friends, family, community loved me enough to keep me alive. And then I said, I can't do it on my own. I cannot beat this. Whatever it is that I'm trying to get over, I can't beat it. And I then realised, when I studied it, that addiction is a disease. It's a disease of the emotions, as well as physical, when we're in the grip of not being able to get out of it. So it's taken a while to find sobriety. And what's helped me most along the way is the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So I share a bit about what it is and some experience, strength and hope of what it's like to be in recovery. So this weekend has been a bit of an eye-opener. I fell over, hurt my foot, and I'm off to hospital later just to see what they say. Better safe than sorry, rather than soldiering on and wondering if it will just get better on its own. So I've learned that. But you know, in the old days I would persevere and end up spending, time out, because I was so determined that I'd be alright regardless. And that's called denial. So I've learned a lot about denial. I still get it big time. And AA, the fellowship, helps me, and there is a statement of intent, or the AA preamble, shared at every meeting of AA. And I have 700 to choose from here in London every week, so I'm very fortunate. And this preamble reads like this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, nor be interrupted by the postman. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So it is about a desire to stop drinking and helping others, and that's really the backbone of what it's what a fellowship can do, or what this fellowship does for me. And I share literature from this book, Daily Reflections, which covers the 12 steps of action for a person to take to improve their life circumstances and live life well. And they're encapsulated on this little card here. And as you can see, on one side here are the 12 traditions, and on the other side the 12 steps. And March is all about step 3 in this book, Daily Reflections. So it's 31 days on the third step. So I'm trying to cover, I love it because I can cover all the 12 steps fairly thoroughly each year, monthly, and get something out of it. So the third step reads like this: made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And when I first came into the fellowship of AA, this thing of God, I thought I had to know what God was, or is, or can be, or I had to define God in order to understand God so that God could help me. And what I've realised is that we all come to our own understanding about what God may be. And for me, and this is just me and my outlook, my understanding so far, because I'm a learner, and I'm an absolute learner on all of this stuff. God is truth. That's the universal truth of now, the universe as it is. God is love, and God works through people. So having come to that understanding, and that doesn't define God, because nobody can. You know, it's beyond everything. What is the universe? Beyond definition. So it would be very hard for me to define God, but you know, God works in people's lives. If we actually access the truth of now, have love in our hearts, and can learn from other people, that's good enough for me. And it's a good starting point on spiritual progress, which is living in the moment of now, being able to cope with what is going on. So March 1st, in this book, Daily Reflections, it says it works. It really does. When I got sober, I initially had faith only in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Desperation and fear kept me sober, and maybe a caring and or tough sponsor helped. Faith in a higher power came much later. This faith came slowly at first, after I began listening to others share at meetings about their experiences that I had never faced sober. But they were willing, with the strength of a higher power, to face those. Out of those sharing came hope that I too would and could get a higher power. In time I learned that a higher power, a faith that works under all conditions, is possible. Today this faith, plus the honesty, open-mindedness and willingness to work the steps of the program, gives me the serenity that I seek. It works, it really does. And you know, for me, what is absolutely fundamental in there is recognizing I'm not the higher power. That all that self-will and self-obsession to drive away the fear or push it down and push it out with alcohol, or just fix myself with alcohol, was always about not feeling good enough. So what has helped me? Well, faith, courage and confidence to be able to do the next right thing. And if I'm sober, I have a better understanding of what the next right thing or good conscience can tell me. So God, as I understand it, he or she, is simply truth, love, and comes through other people. Whereas before, it was all about me fighting the world and fighting a battle. And now I don't have to fight a battle. I can just be included, have choices, and be loved, and love back. Very simple. But because we're complicated, and we still want to be fixed, rather than just cover our needs and see what choices we have. If we cover our needs and have choices, the world opens up. But if we're wanting, we're narrowing our choices down to our own self-obsession. So that serenity prayer, which I share at the end of videos, to acceptance of now, goes as this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For me, always, is just for today.